Hi, good morning. I'm doing this quick video for you. I'm hoping that it will help you prepare for our first rehearsal. We're going to be going over movements and different places of the body, and different simple movements that will help you when we actually get into the choreography. So I have a whole vocabulary list for you to look at. But in the meantime, first thing that I want to deal with is your body positions, where you're going to stand. You can be face front, right? Face front, which is known as 12 o'clock. If you're standing 12 o'clock, I may ask you to stand on a diagonal, on your right diagonal or on your left diagonal, which for you may be you're looking at 2 o'clock or you're looking at 10 o'clock. Sometimes I may ask you to be in a position that is profile, which is basically this, which is your 3 o'clock, or like this, which is your 9 o'clock. So you may be asked to stand there. The other thing is, think about, a lot of you are already playing with your flags, but just to be specific, as you're touching your flags and you're getting used to them, becoming accustomed to them, making them your friend, because your flag is an extension of your arm. Wherever you take your arm, that's where the flag is going. So you want to practice in between, before we meet. How do you move that flag with your whole arm? Taking that flag, using your entire arm from your shoulder on out, not bending or anything, or bending it just a little, the whole arm. What would that look like, right? And for those of you who are double flags, both arms, what's that like? What's that like? What's that like? I'm sorry, that was a bent arm. Whole arm. Okay, the other thing is, there are three basic things with the flag, the streamer, the tabouret, the hoops, whatever you're using. Straight arm. Next thing is, you're initiating from your elbow. So if I'm using something from my elbow, that means my movement is basically from my elbow, or my elbow bends. So if you have a bending elbow movement, it would be kind of like this. Right? The elbow bends. The next thing to think about is movements that are mostly initiated from the wrists. And these things can be in combination with each other, but there are certain movements that may be more wrist oriented. This one, anything like this. You see, if you notice, a lot is happening with this wrist. Let me turn sideways so you can see. Now the wrist, especially with these kind of flags, because I try to get the ones that are similar to yours with the flexi rod. Your wrist is very important, because the fabric is going to turn in a certain way, but in order to get the fabric to flip back, you don't want to go like, oh, you're going to haul the fabric to the other side. The wrist kind of brings it back into place, because these rods, it's not on a swivel tube, so it's not going to swivel on its own. Your wrist does the swiveling. So let's say I'm trying to learn this flag pattern from last night. I was watching Call to Flag, which is one of the people that I buy some of my flags from, and they have this movement that goes back here, then it comes over this way. Well, as you notice, as I move my flag over here, it did flip, but I have to do a little thing with my wrist. Or there's a movement that we have in the choreography that you come across, and then it comes back the other way. And my husband kept saying, I don't get it. It's not working for me. How come yours is going straight across and mine is bunching up? Well, I realized as I analyzed my own movement is that I did a slight move of my wrist, which flipped my fabric back. Watch this. So it's coming across here. I do a slight move of my wrist, very slight, almost like a quarter, and I bring it back the other way. Show you again. It goes in, a little flip, and then out. So you can practice this. My hands are going around in one way, or they're going in, out, or they're coming in. Most flagging that's done is done with the right hands, unless you're doing double flags and you have right and left. It's usually right hands. Everybody's going to be in the right hands if you just have one instrument, one worship tool in your hands. It's going to go one way, right? Or sometimes you have a figure eight kind of movement. And these are things you can practice about the flag in your hand. What would you do? It goes here, I'm gonna flick it here, I'm gonna flick it here, I'm gonna flick it here. So those are the basic things that you wanna think about when you're practicing with any of your worship tools, whether it's your hoop or your flag, single or double. Am I using my full arm? Am I using from the elbow or from my wrist? And that's, usually when I do warm-ups, I don't know if I'm doing that with you guys, but when I do warm-ups, I tend to do that whole thing of, okay, let's start the full arm, elbow, 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 wrist, wrist, figure 8. Okay, you have figure 8 this way, or you can have the figure 8 that's standing up this way, figure 8. Right? Whole arm, bent from the elbow, wrist, figure 8, figure 8 overhead, figure 8, and figure 8 standing up. All right, so practice that, and I'll see you all on Saturday. God bless.